Welcome back, and it's time for newspaper review.
All right, and Chukwudi Okolubaja is seated to do the usual. Good morning to you.
Morning, Victor. An enemy knocks, from outside, and it's cold. This extreme cold. I still haven't got out of it. But not to worry. There's no killing the beetle. Dumai.
Now, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you as always.
Yeah. So let's quickly go to the papers now, and I have the People's Daily coming up now. The People's Daily, and just below the masthead, we have NECO examination embraced by more foreign countries. That's coming from an official of NECO. Support military to stamp out terrorism. Defense Minister urges Nigerians. At the bottom plate of the People's Daily, insecurity, Kaduna community appeals for military formation. Find the details on page 7. And each wants developing countries to reject proposed climate finance deal at COP29. Details on page 8. Nigeria, Brazil sign MOU to boost agribusiness. Details on page 3. Tinubu, Gambari's legacy shaping our nation's foreign policy. Find details on page 5. And MPC begins collection of data on causes of deaths in children and women. And the headlines in the People's Daily: Dangote refinery reduces PMS price to 970 naira for marketers. Find all the details on page 5. Let me quickly go to the Daily Trust newspaper now, and from the Daily Trust newspaper below the masthead, I have Dangote refinery, I just read it, reduces petrol price to 970 naira per litre. And fact check how senators misinterpreted constitution to endorse CC teachers removal. Details on page 40. Senator Barrow equips Kano Police Command with 1,000 motorcycles. Want to know? Find the details on page 9. And 8 killed in Abuja Kaduna road crash. That's by the side piece of the picture story there. That's the details on page 24. I could have been a drug addict. That's coming from former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And at the bottom plate of the Daily Trust newspaper, 3,000 litigations stall AMCON's 5 trillion naira loans recovery. Details 27. And the headlines: Presidency lobbies National Assembly over tax reform bills. With rider, proposed law meant for good governance. That's coming from one of the spokesmen of the president, Daniel Bwala.
All right, and that leads us to the Daily Sun, which leads with Dangote refinery slashes ex-depot price to 970 naira per litre. Tightens pact with marketers as domestic refiners opt for oil imports amid naira for crude policy setback. That's on page 25. And just beside the masthead, still on page 25, Nigeria downgraded to vulnerable nation in 2024 Instability Index. Below the masthead, nepotism responsible for Nigeria's woes. That's according to Kuka. Says current state of democracy not working. And you can get details of that story on page 6. And at the bottom of the Daily Sun, at the front page of the Daily Sun, Nigeria, Brazil sign agreement to enhance agribusiness. Page 28. Assets verification. Ukpewolo unveils 14-man panel to probe Obaseki. It's laughable, meaningless. Ex-governor. That one too is on page 27. And finally, Ngige urges Supreme Court to revisit judgment on LG's financial autonomy. Chukwudi.
Victor, I'll start with the People's News. I tell people the news belongs to the people before any other person. Okay? Dangote reduces petrol price to 970 naira per liter. You know, we have this pessimistic attitude towards things that happen in this country. When anything goes up in this country, it never ever comes down. That's not true. Look at the pricing regime within the past 1.5 months. I saw 1,200. Then within about 2 weeks, 1,150 per liter. Then 1,130 per liter. Then 1,120 per liter. 1,100. Then 1,010 naira per liter. Now, if he goes down to 970 per liter to marketers, why would we not expect it to, rest at 1,000? Because if you think that 30 naira is not big money, apply it to volume discount, and you begin to see that 30 naira is a lot of deal. But the point I'm making is, let us learn to say that the cup is half full of water, not half empty of water. There's abiding pessimism among Nigerians, many Nigerians, which I think does not augur well for self-development, let alone national development. Victor, you were talking.
I hope you are not going to say this is seeing the cup as half empty rather than half full. But I think while I share your optimism, we're not there yet. Let's see what they do. This is ex-depot price. Let them, by the time they do all and calculate everything, they're going, let's see where it is. It's not Victor, the people's news until Victor, it gets to the people.
You don't get it. I think you have packed your jalopy finally, so you're not abreast of what's happening.
Me, I'm not saying
my
anything.
My old war horse is still on the road. The point is this. Sorry, Juma.
Yeah.
The point is this. Market forces are eventually working. That's where I was going. But I'm not an economist. So I throw in my general knowledge journalism. Then I allow the experts to tell you what conclusively handles the situation. Market forces are working. What happened? When they were doing 1,200 per liter, 1,150, more people parked their cars. More not carrying their petrol, no one buy. They started begging to some filling stations now. 3 Okada, brother. So it's working. That's the point I'm making, really, my dear.
Well,
those little things matter to me. Say it the way it is. That is part of fairness, factuality, accuracy, objectivity, and balance. The pillars of journalism. Juma, you were talking.
About the oil,
I just
think
it's still too early.
Whatever price they give us. No,
it's still too early to draw the conclusions you're drawing. But let me agree with you without conceding.
Is it too early for you to agree that the movement from 1,002 down to 1,010? Come on. I did something scientific.
Until we see the retail price.
This journalist, sometimes I suspect
I'm not
you.
saying anything.
Okay. So what else do you want us to take up there? Okay.
Well, I'm looking at Edo, and sometimes it's politics, but you begin to wonder, would that be the first thing to do?
What is that?
For a governor. Assets verification, Ukpewulu unveils 14-man panel to probe Obaseki. It's pretty too early.
The Nigerian politics is still maturing. When you talk about continuity, it is not yet the turf of the African leadership. There is still some witch hunt going on. There is still some vindictiveness going on. There is still some, it's our turn to do you back now. I'm not saying that characterizes what Okpewolo is about to do, but you cannot divorce it from the politics of developing nations and all that. Who was talking about nepotism? Is it Kuka somewhere? We are still, when I come here and talk about Africa, it's not really a Nigerian thing per se. It's an African way of living, which has inhibited its growth for too long. The African continent remains a giant in the sun when the shade beckons there. We have to leave certain things. Fine. If there are screaming cases of, they have dipped their hand in the till and all that, probe it. But when you come to make a point because this person you have had this running battle with them.
You don't even find that in a matter of days. You don't find that they have them behind in just
Victor,
days.
you have preempted me. Give them 6 months. All this will fizzle out. Who was it, Obasanjo? He said that Sharia law in some states then was more political than anything else. It will fizzle out. Do you really see Sharia law being intensified? Nigerians are living peacefully.
But the reason why is because Sharia law has always been there in the northern states.
No.
It has always been there.
Jumai,
that one was political, actually, but Sharia law has always been there.
That's why I tell you, Jumai,
yes.
we should get together to talk
yes.
soul to soul.
It has always been
was
there.
political at that time.
It was.
How could you tell me we're going to cut off the hand of one man who stole one ram or whatever, when people are they're taking our money with billions?
Impunity.
They are shielded from. That's the point I'm making, my sister. Otherwise, the tenets of Islam can never be challenged by any of us. Respect a religion the way it works. It works for the people who practice it.
Yes.
But I just alluded to it as one of those things that, politics has mentioned
and
from
it didn't
time
do
to
well
time.
for our country anyway.
That's the point.
Where we are today because of so many things that happened.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the presidency lobbies National Assembly over tax reform bills.
We've
discussed these tax reforms here.
President Ahmed Bola Tinubu said, don't talk about withdrawing it. Let it do the rounds in democracy. So what is happening now is the natural stage of what should happen in a democracy. Okay, the governors in the north, the traditional rulers in the north are saying, look, this derivation-based thing concerning that is going to hurt our people. Definitely, they feel that more funds are not going to come to them as much as it should.
It should be.
And the presidency said, no, I don't withdraw it. Let it go through the rigors of... And that is what is happening now. It is now the turn of the governors and the traditional rulers to talk to their sons and daughters in the National Assembly. Whoever is able to convince the other would work towards democracy winning at the end of the day. No ill feelings coming from anybody at all. Black Africa should come out openly to embrace democracy. No. It works at the end of the day. If you do not begin to smear it with my brother,
they talk of nepotism responsible for Nigeria's woes by Kuka, who says that current state of democracy not working. And if you delve in a bit, you hear him talk about, all the leaders we've had coming, to power by some form of accident, by coincidence, one way or the other. Yes. That's according to Kuka, though.
Well, they're coming in by accident. Someone like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
he did say that the incumbent prepared for it.
Thank you.
But that,
we have to say it the way it is.
That we are just starting. He did say so.
Kuka is entitled to his own analysis.
Victor
is entitled to his own analysis. But I think that somebody like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, actually prepared for it. Emi Loko has not left our heads. It can only have been a statement by a man who has deliberately plotted away, right from Nadeko days and all that. There was a time he was practically a fugitive in the hands of Abuja, and, that's it. So some of them may have come by accident. Obasanjo, for instance, maybe, Jonathan, but I think that it's not every one of them. And Buhari worked to become a... You understand?
Well, he said the former president had given up. So that's where he pegged it, that he had given up. But it's okay.
Given up on what?
Given up on the presidency. Okay. Before eventually getting
Where did he get that from?
That's Kuka analysis, which is entitled to.
He's entitled to.
So let's let him be, please.
So?
Yes.
I think that's it.
NECO examination being embraced by more foreign countries. Does that say that the quality of that examination, is that what the paper says? I have not read it, but I heard it. And anytime I hear anything that extols the sub-region or the green, white, green, I jump at it because it's country first.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we've got to thank you now for your time.
Thank me out, Victor.
And your analysis.
We know your habits.
And I'm sure that a cup of coffee will be waiting for you just out there.
Thank you so much.
We thank you for staying with us. Good Morning Nigeria continues just. Please don't go away.